Hello, my name is Estelle Viljoen. In this video, we are going to look at the different approaches we can follow to make learning and teaching material and assessment tasks accessible for learners with visual impairment. We will discuss practical examples of 9 different approaches. The 9 approaches are as follows. A picture or a diagram can be simplified or shown differently. A picture or diagram can be replaced with a written description. A picture or diagram can be supplemented with a written description. Or a picture or diagram can be replaced with a real object or model. An unnecessary picture can be removed. We can reduce the amount of information. Measurements can be altered or rounded off. Inherently visual material replaced with equivalent non-visual material. And questions that require a blind learner to draw can be reversed, or a written or recorded response can be accepted. In this video, I will cover the first 4 approaches, and in the video that follows, I will share 5 more approaches. Let's look at the first approach, a picture or diagram, simplified or shown differently. Our first example is from a primary school workbook for mathematics. The question requires the learner to find the picture that is the same as the one in the first box. There are 2 rows of 5 pictures each. In the first row, we see 5 pictures of little chicks, of which the first one and one other one look the same. The other 3 are all different. The pictures are printed with small detail, which makes it difficult for the low vision learner to identify the small differences. For the blind learner, it is impossible to braille these pictures and indicate the differences. This is essentially a visual exercise, assessing the visual perception of young learners. The second row of pictures of caricature drawings of different animals are even more problematic for the visually impaired child. So what do? We use familiar, simpler shapes and perhaps fewer of them. Do not spend too much time on a simple little task. The pictures placed in boxes also create unnecessary lines and busyness on which the learner will spend meaningless time to decipher what is going on. For the blind learner, we turn it into a tactile exercise by printing it in Braille, and the low vision learner simply identify the shapes that are the same. In the first row of the accessible version, we have a circle, a square, a triangle, and another circle. In the second row, we have an arrow pointing upwards, then an arrow pointing down, an arrow pointing upwards, and one pointing to the right. Low vision and blind learners will now be able to see or feel which shape is the same as the one in the first block. Next, we move to our second approach, in which we will illustrate what can be done with a very popular exercise of understanding and analyzing advertisements, which forms part of the curriculum of different subjects like languages, consumer studies, and business studies. In this example, from an assessment paper for English home language at primary school level, a picture is given to advertise a certain brand of toothpaste. It requires the learners to study the picture and then answer some questions on what is in the picture. The approach we are going to apply is when a picture or diagram can be replaced with a written description. It is an impossibility to try and braille most pictures. Low vision learners might have problems with the colors, for example, when shades of gray and white are used and when the contrast is insufficient. So now we write a detailed description of the picture and all the information that is given on the packet and in the advertisement. For example, the advertisement shows a packet with the following written on it: New fluoride toothpaste, Aquafresh, triple protection with microactive foaming action and whitening, pure breath action. There is also a picture of a woman with a broad smile and perfect white teeth on the advertisement. The following words are written below the picture. Mineral formula helps to neutralize bad breath odors. Get a free sample for cleaner, whiter teeth. Learners can now answer all the questions from the text. In the next example, we will look at the third approach. A picture or diagram can be supplemented with a written description. This example is from a primary school mathematics workbook in the section on data and statistics. The learner is given a picture showing a large number of bananas, apples, strawberries, and naartjies or clementines, drawn very closely together in a quite crowded way. The question is, sort or count the fruit and answer the questions. The picture is too crowded for both blind and low vision learners, and some might not be able to distinguish between the different fruits. Brailing items without labels, expecting blind learners to identify the fruits is not possible or fair. So what do? We choose fruit that are easier to distinguish when drawn in Braille and label them or provide a legend labeling each kind of fruit. We also reduce the number of fruits to avoid crowding and draw the fruits larger. In the adaptation, we provide a key which shows an apple with a little stem with one leaf and the word apple written below it. We do the same with a banana, a pineapple, and a pear with just a little stem showing where it was pulled off the plant. We draw a picture showing 4 bananas, 3 apples, 3 pears, and 2 pineapples. The question now reads, count the bananas, apples, pears, and pineapples and answer the questions. The fourth approach shows how a picture or diagram can be replaced with a real object or model. 3D objects are one of the most difficult things for a visually impaired child. The 3D drawings will have no meaning really for them. For blind and low vision learners, it is far better for their conceptual understanding to give them the real objects and explain all these concepts while handling the real geometric bodies. Teaching this content will take much longer. Be patient, because particularly for your gifted learner who might want to study mathematics at university, this work is essential. We have now looked at 4 different approaches that you can apply to make learning and teaching material and assessment tasks accessible for visually impaired learners in your classroom.